Good evening, Javier Franco. Perspective from my porch. It's nice, cold, Thursday night, Tuesday night. I'm sorry, Tuesday night. Today, the subject that I've been talking about in the last few times has been about letting go of problems, about issues that you have in your mind, have in your heart. Uh, one of the things I talked about last week was to be able to forgive yourself from things, and I did get questions about that. A lot of questions about how to do that. The other thing that I talked about was identifying what has hurt you and what has offended you, and what we need to let go of. Uh, Today I want to kind of elaborate a little bit about this. Once again, I know that it's a big subject, and there's a lot of little things that have to occur in order for you to be able to forgive yourself, forgive others. Uh, One of the problem lies in how we forgive, uh, or identify. Once we identify the problem, how do we forgive for our attitude, our mindset? How do we forgive the person or persons or even the situation that has occurred? Um, First of all, we need to know what forgiveness is. Forgiveness is that change of attitude towards a situation or person that has offended us, that has hurt us, that has done us wrong. And once we identify that person or persons or situation, then we have to be able to learn to forgive that person of the harm that they did us. Now that is a that is a hard thing to do. I'm not saying that it's going to be a 1 day thing, a 2 week thing, a 3 month thing. It's going to take time, but it's going to take time for you to identify. It's going to take time for you to learn how to just walk away from the situation and not let it control your life. Too many times, those things that we need to ask for forgiveness for, we can't let go because it has hurt us so much. The problem to that is that the pain that we have comes from somewhere that we have no control of. I always tell people it's to me, a lot of things are like a contest. How I deal with what has hurt me in the past is really important, because am I letting them control me, or am I controlling that situation? If they continue to, if it's all constantly on my mind of what they did to me, how they talked bad about me, how they hurt me, if it's continually on my mind, that means that they're still controlling me to a certain aspect. They're still controlling me to a certain point. I have to be able to say, I release that, I forgive that, I move on from that. Um, Working on forgiveness helps us also grow. Once we learn how to feel better about self of ourselves because of the pain that has been caused. You see, one of the things that is important is that the negative things that have occurred in our lives, we must use them to build ourselves up and make ourselves stronger. We have to become stronger for in situations. An example: if somebody has talked bad about you, what have you learned from that situation? From what have you learned about that? And are you going to let it control you, or are you going to forgive that person for what they did to you? Once again, it is hard to do. It will take some time. But can you forgive that person? Will you forgive that person? And then build yourself up and say, it's not going to happen again. If somebody has hurt you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, whatever it is, are you willing to grow and become stronger by that situation? Once you identify what has to change in your life, once you identify what has to happen, then we can go ahead and start the forgiveness process. It's going to take time. I'm not going to say that it's going to be a fast thing. It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take some time that you probably have to seek a professional help. You're going to have to find out, uh, how can I release this? I think the point of release is one of the hardest things to do because it means that we have to let go of things that we're holding inside. Once we can release those things that are hurting inside, our self-esteem grows because we're growing. It's really important that you understand that in order for us to grow spiritually, emotionally, mentally, it's important that we release things that have hurt us in the past. One of my favorite authors, and I know I'm going a little bit long, but I think it's important right now. One of my favorite authors is Zach Mandino, and he has a book called The Rat Picker. If you want to read that book, it's called The Rat Picker. And it talks about how we're supposed to go back and pick up the pieces and put them back together so that we become the perfect person that God made us. And we're not going to be perfect, but we're going to grow by those situations that have occurred in our lives. I'm going to talk more about this. People have stopped me on the street. They've stopped me in places. They've messaged me and asked me, how do I do this? I'm going to try to explain a little bit more in detail. In the meantime, one of the things that I want you to do is, what do you need to release? What do you need to forgive? Who do you need to forgive? What do you need to forgive? And let's learn how to identify that and how to move on to the next step. We have to love ourselves. Once again, once we have good self-esteem about us, we grow from that and we get stronger. Love yourself more than anybody else, people. I mean, it's very important that you love yourself. If I taught you anything in this perspective from my porch, and I know I'm getting a little bit deeper than I wanted to, but it's important, especially in this day and time. There's a lot of anger going on in our lives, and there's a lot of problems going on in our lives. But we cannot go around with hatred, with anger, with feelings that will just control us. And I believe that a lot of things that are controlling us, our pain, our anger, is affecting the attitude that we have towards other people. So on Thursday we're going to talk a little bit more, and I'm trying to find more time to do these perspective from my porch more than twice probably. But right now, learn to forgive. Look up the meaning for forgiveness. It is a change of attitude. If that attitude that you're having has anger in it, then you're not learning to forgive. We have to release. Once again, it's not going to be a quick thing. It's going to take some time. Love yourself more than anybody else, and that way you can build your self-esteem, and that way people cannot control your emotions. We'll see you next time. Perspective from my porch, Javier Franco. Thank you.